Welcome back to our penultimate episode in this series on self-esteem. In the last episode, we talked about how to develop a strong inner voice so you can trust yourself and rely less on outside validation. But even when you start building self-esteem, there's one thing that can still hold you back: toxic shame and self-doubt. If you've ever felt like you're not good enough, struggled with negative self-talk, or carried shame from your past, this episode is for you. By the end of this video, you'll understand how shame and self-doubt develop, why they distort the way you see yourself, and learn 3 powerful steps to break free from them. Let's get into it. The first step is to understand where toxic shame and self-doubt comes from and what these things actually are. And before we go any further, let's unpack the term toxic shame. I use the term toxic shame to differentiate it from healthy shame. What's the difference, you might ask? Healthy shame is the feeling we get when some of our humanity spills out for the world to see. And I say it's healthy because it highlights that we're fallible, imperfect, and can have a positive, humbling effect on us. It's evidence of a properly functioning conscience. It's like an inbuilt limiter that provides us with useful information. Even though the signals can feel like vulnerability, healthy shame makes us know we're connected to everyone else. We're all human, we're all vulnerable, perfectly imperfect. Toxic shame, on the other hand, disconnects us from others and alienates us. It tells us that the vulnerability signal is dangerous. Toxic shame tells us that we're not good enough, and worse yet, different from everyone else, so unique in our imperfection that we're alone and terrible. Toxic shame makes us think there's something fundamentally wrong with us. The side effect of this is worthlessness, and as you can imagine, that would be a big problem for someone wanting to cultivate their self-esteem. Self-doubt, on the other hand, is when you question your abilities, your decisions, or your worth. Most people don't realize that toxic shame and self-doubt are learned. Remember, no one is born thinking they're unworthy. So where does it come from? It usually starts in childhood or through negative experiences. Maybe you were criticized a lot growing up, so you started believing you weren't good enough. Maybe you were taught that mistakes equal failure, so now you constantly second guess yourself. Maybe you felt rejected or invisible, so you learned to shrink yourself and avoid being hurt. Maybe you were made to carry other people's shameful behaviors and weren't able to set boundaries to protect yourself. When these experiences repeat over time, self-doubt becomes your default setting. Instead of seeing yourself clearly, you see yourself through the lens of past criticism, fear, rejection, and in the way others have treated you. But here's the truth. Your past experiences don't define your worth. Your doubts are just thoughts, they're not facts. Shame is something you learned, not something you have to carry forever. Start questioning where these beliefs came from. The next step is about identifying and challenging shame-based beliefs. Most of us don't even realize how much shame-based thinking is running in the background of our minds. So let's bring it to the surface. Try this exercise. Write down or think about one area of your life where you feel not good enough. Maybe it's your work, your appearance, your relationships, your intelligence. Now ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is this actually true? Or is it just something I was taught to believe? Would I ever say this about someone I love? Here's another thing about shame and self-doubt. They don't seem to survive when you question them. They thrive in secrecy and self-criticism, but the moment you bring them into the light and challenge them, their power starts to fade. So instead of letting shame tell you who you are, start asking yourself, is this thought based on reality or just an old fear? What's a more balanced way to look at this? And most importantly, talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. You wouldn't tell a friend they're worthless. At least I hope not. So why do it to yourself? The third step is to take actions that prove your worth to yourself. Here's one thing. You can't think your way out of self-doubt. At some point, you have to act in ways that reinforce your worth. If you wait until you feel confident before you take action, you'll wait forever. Confidence comes after action, not before. Try this. Think of one thing you've been avoiding because of self-doubt. Instead of asking, do I feel ready? Ask, what's one small step I can take anyway? Take that step without overthinking it. Even the smallest action, whether it's speaking up, trying something new, or setting a boundary, sends a message to your brain. Messages like, I trust myself. I am capable. I don't have to be perfect to be worthy. And the more you act in alignment with your worth, the more your self-doubt will start to just fade away. Let's do a reflection. If you can, grab a notebook or think about your answers. What's one area where you struggle with self-doubt? What's an old belief about yourself that you're ready to question? What's one small action you can take this week to reinforce your worth? Now let me know in the comments. What's one self-doubt you're working to overcome? How do you handle shame when it comes up? What's something you've done despite feeling self-doubt? And how did it turn out? I'm interested to read your responses. In the final episode of this series, we'll talk about how to sustain self-esteem long-term so that it doesn't just come and go, but stays strong for life.